What is going on, guys? I wanted to make a quick video on how I fixed my clutch switch. I'll bring this down a little bit. A lot of the time what'll happen with the WRs, and what was happening to me, is your bike will not start in gear even if your clutch is pulled. So kind of an issue if you're on a hill or off-road. It's just, at best case scenario, it's inconvenient. Worst case, it can put you in kind of a sticky situation. So just wanted to see how I fixed that. Now, right now, mine does work, but I'm going to show you the same procedure that I went through to actually fix it. You can bridge the wires of this switch if you want to, and that's going to fix the issue. So essentially, you don't even have to pull the clutch in to start the bike in gear. The only thing I don't like about that is if your bike is on the stand and leaning over, and you park somewhere and you're just getting ready to take off, you can potentially start your bike in gear. It's going to roll forward off the stand and fall over, which I didn't really love. So let's get into this. I'm just going to show you what I did internally to the switch, and we'll get started. So first and foremost, you're going to need a couple things. I'm going to take that wire tie, cable tie off, just so we can get in here. As you can see, my little sensor doesn't want to stay in, which is why I'm using this. So you don't necessarily need to. If it clicks into place, then you're good, but just so you can keep that in mind. Okay, so here's your switch. I'm going to take it apart a little bit. You're going to want some very small flat blade screwdrivers. Hope the camera's pointing it the right way. Okay, so to get this thing apart, you're going to want a couple flat blade screwdrivers. I'm going to take some really small ones here, like this Craftsman here. Let's see if we can get this apart. Kind of just wedge that in on one side, and then try not to stab yourself. Hoping this works. There we go. Let's try using this on the other side. Yeah, just wiggle it. It's kind of tricky to get this thing out, but just keep at it and you'll be able to spread these little tabs apart enough so you can get what you need out of it. Okay, great. So then you've got this, and we're going to essentially do the same thing again. So let's pull this apart a little bit further. We've got a couple more of these little tabs. Just do the same thing. Pry apart here. Let's see if we can get it. There we go. So just kind of pop these open, and then you can pull this switch apart. Be careful not to lose any of these little things. There's some springs in there, and they do love to fly out. Okay, so we've got the little sensor apart here, just so you can get a good idea of what it's going to look like. You've got these two prongs. When you're doing this test, make sure your kickstand is up. That will throw you for a loop. So you've got this outer plastic that comes out first, and the little inner guy, which looks like that. And that sits in between these two. So right now, when these are disconnected, we are in gear. Nothing is going on. We hit the kill switch. Nothing's happening. If we connect these two, so pinch those together, we're able to start the bike, as you can see. So obviously I'm not going to start it in my basement, but there you go. That's the issue that we're running into. So how I fixed this is really, really easy. What I did was grab some really small pliers. Needle nose is fine. Some of these guys are fine. I like something like this, some medical equipment, just because it's a little easier to get into. And you'll just want to make sure that these are shaped nicely so that they will make contact. So I kind of grab near the top, so you're not bending that final little bend, but just grab that, grab at the bottom, and just give it a little turn so you kind of make it more of a curve shape instead of straight. Do that with the other side. So now we've got more of a curve there. So these are much more conducive to touching, to closing the circuit. So at this point, all you really need to do is just put your switch back together, put that sensor back together. It looks something like this. Now I may have gone a little over the top with that. As long as they're not touching when these two pieces are in, that's fine. So I'm just going to bend them back out just a squeak. Just like that. So there's only a tiny little bit of room. I hope that shows up on the video. The next thing we'll do is put your little spring back in where it's supposed to go. There we go. I'm just going to hold that in place. That's the hardest part, just getting all this stuff in, using, 3-4 hands to get it done. And that will slide right over. Again, hopefully the angle is good here. There we go. It's working. Okay, so this is just going to click into place. Oh, that's satisfying. Okay, so that looks good. And at this point, just to do a quick test, turn your key on. I'm still in gear. And at this point, if we click, that'll start. But if the clutch switch is in, nothing. So that's your test. Basically, as it sits like this, when the sensor's out of the clutch, nothing's going to happen. But if you actually let it go, aka pull in the clutch, you'll be able to start your bike. And that's what you want. So the last thing is this larger cover on the bottom. Just slide that up. Just make sure you're going the right way. There are these tiny little notches that click into place. It should be pretty obvious. You'll hear another click and you're in business. So basically get this in. Now mine is not staying in place in the housing. So it will go in, but it will just kind of pop itself out. So I just put a zip tie on there. Bring that up to about there. I'll grab another one. Okay, take a second zip tie and essentially just set it up. I had it go around the actual housing, but just set this up so it goes through. And it just pulls your sensor into the actual clutch housing. So we'll do one of these, kind of go around like that. Again, you probably don't have to do this part, but if you do, it's relatively easy. Get that to start clicking. There we go. Now, a quick tip on this that I learned in mountain biking is if you take some pliers, just like this, something to grab onto, and obviously you can kind of snug up the zip tie. What you can do is grab this right by the end, or right where the zip tie goes into the mechanism there, don't know what to call it, and just twist. Just hold on to that and just twist it. This will leave a kind of flat edge, one that's not sharp, one that's not going to cut your gloves. So right now it's flat. Hopefully you can see that. Doesn't leave a sharp edge, nothing sticking out, nothing will get caught on that. And then just throw the little piece away. Okay, so now you fix your switch. Super simple. Essentially, you've got the two contacts which stick out that are a little bit bent. You just want to bend those in a little bit more so they're able to make a full circuit there. So let's try this one more time. Okay, so your final test to make sure everything looks good. Turn your key on, set your kill switch on, make sure your kickstand is not down, and we are in gear. No neutral light there. Right now, since the clutch is not pulled in, we shouldn't be able to start the bike, and the starter confirms that. If the clutch is pulled in, even with us in gear, we're still able to start it. So that's what we want. There you go. So that switch is now good, zip tied into place, kind of janky. Will it function its purpose? Absolutely. So I think we're going to be good there. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions. Happy to answer them.